Just Dance. How do I introduce a video about the lore of Just Dance? Now, if you're part of my ideal target audience, then you'll probably know Just Dance from your cousin's birthday parties or end of school term events. Unsurprisingly, Just Dance is still around. They have very much evolved with the times in two important ways to this video. One, they've adopted a semi-live service model for their DLC. I could go deeper into the intricacies of Just Dance Plus in this video, but all you need to know for this video is that they have seasons where they release new levels, each with a vague theme that holds them together, alongside what amounts to a season pass free for all players. And 2, they got lore now. Hell, the most recent game even had a plot. In this video, I aim to recap all the new lore introduced in the most recent season of Just Dance, Showdown. But first I need to define some important terminology. Maps. Maps are the name for the levels of Just Dance. They're the actual content of the game, the things that all get re-uploaded to YouTube so Miss Y doesn't have to go and buy the game herself. Coaches are the hosts of the map. They're the people you are meant to be dancing to. Avatar. An avatar is just one of the two forms of customization that'll be important for this video. They're just avatars of the coaches. They also have quotes from the coaches as flavor text. Backgrounds. About as self-explanatory as the avatars. Backgrounds of the maps used for customization. They have non-quote flavor text. Danceverse. Every Just Dance map, since the ones that are either non-canon or take place in space, takes place on one of 10 stylized planets. Each of these planets is a Danceverse. In one last non-definition thing, like half of the Just Dance lore comes in the form of Twitter drops, or whatever the equivalent for other social media sites are. Now that you know all of that, I can explain Showdown itself. Showdown doesn't have much of a theme as it does a premise. All the dance verses except Eternix for some reason come together and do a fancy Eurovision song contest. All of the songs except Eternix's for some reason come from the Eurovision song contest. Similarly, all the maps take place on one stage that has little LED screens behind it to represent their dance verse. The first map of Showdown is Snow Muck, representing Sun Horizon. Sun Horizon is a dance verse that's themed around the main concept of summer, but really it's just anything tropical. You may know that the map does not reflect this at all. Unfortunately, the quote for the map's associated avatar amounts to a pickup line, so I'll have to go straight for the associated lore drops. Each map of Showdown has a short Twitter video containing about 2 paragraphs of lore. But Slow-Mo is one of the 3 maps to have a TikTok that repeats everything in the Twitter vid, with a bit more extra stuff put in there. The Cliff Notes version of the TikTok is that Estrella, the middle coach, is a pretty popular person and travels a lot. There's not a lot of lore to this map. The second map of Showdown is Give That Wolf a Banana, representing Wacky Groove. Wacky Groove is seen around being wacky, as well as the occasional groove. 2 notable characters from this dance verse are Panda and Rudolph, who the coaches for this map impersonate. It's definitely not what's actually going on because the coaches are named Panda Fan and Deer Stan, but it's the best word I can think of. Also, at one point the LED screen shows Llama DJ. The quote for the associated avatar is interesting, but it'll make more sense if I interrupt the Twitter drop to talk about it, rather than discussing it now. Onto the Twitter drop itself, by which I mean the TikTok drop itself. The map's coaches are people from Earth who were isekai'd to the world of Just Dance, the TikTok specifying that they don't know how they ended up there. Presumably not long after, they met a werewolf and won their favor over with the banana. Remember when I said I was going to interrupt the Twitter drop? Yeah, that's here. The avatar quote for PanFan is, "I always have bananas in my pocket, you never know what's next." And yes, funny cock joke, but let's analyze what's going on here. The obvious implication is that the event with the werewolf is what inspired this philosophy of banana carrying. Now, the TikTok calling the banana an earth fruit implies that bananas are non-native to the dance verses. Additionally, bananas are so selectively bred that they can't be used to grow trees anymore. You're gonna need a cutting of one of the trees if you want to grow one. I'm assuming these guys are banana farmers or something, as we're only holding one hand of bananas, each when they got isekai'd. This means they'd only have at most 12 bananas between the 2 of them, which will not be enough for them to get through all the situations where they may need a banana. And that's not even getting started on the bananas rhyme. What I'm saying is that PanFan and Deerstan will eventually run out of bananas. There's also the question if the song Give That Wolf a Banana is in-universe about this werewolf event. I don't think it is because the song is really disparaging to the wolf, and mentions of the wolf possibly eating the singer's grandma. Call me crazy, but I think that if one of their grandmas got isekai'd along with them, the TikTok would have mentioned it. Speaking of the TikTok, it says that the werewolf took them to another coach who helped them, presumably the llama, and presumably with the isekai situation. It then finishes off by explaining that they were master honor their idols. The third map of Showdown is Euphoria, representing the Melosia Realms. The Melosia Realms are a vaguely medieval, costly fantasy place. That general ballpark. The coach for this map is called Crystal. The associated TikTok doesn't add much more information, being that she likes nature and is generally a good person. Her avatar's quotes corroborate this. The fourth, or arguably 3.5th map of Showdown is Begging, which frankly has a lot of stuff going on. Begging represents Eternix, a dance verse which wasn't invited to Showdown for some reason. In protest, Eternix decided to show up to Showdown! Eternix itself can briefly be described as a dark dance verse, which basically means that coaches associated with it are one of evil and goth. The lore behind the coach, Cygnus, is that he used to be one of Eternix's evil coaches, but then redeemed himself to be one of the goth coaches. His exploits include working with the evilest Eternix coach, Nightswan, to build a city, and constructing the time-space clock tower trap, which based on the whole clock tower, trap, and Eternix thing, is probably the background for bringing to life. This means Cygnus is one of the first Just Dance coaches with a confirmed body count. The Twitter vid goes on to say that Cygnus came to the Showdown to make up for his wrongdoing, by barging in to sing a sad and rolling song. A great way to show that you care. The last song of Showdown, which I unfortunately can't give a number to due to begging, is Kuruletsu. This map represents Waste Terror, which is another one of those dance classes that has two parts. It's sort of Wild West, sort of post-apocalypse. As for the map itself, which I will be calling by the English translation of Train because you cannot get me to say the Romanian version again, the lore boils down to the coaches, the Bills, in performance who are also cowboys. Then there's Dirty Russ, who's a retired performer who's also a cowboy, and training the other Bills. But just because I'm done with the maps, doesn't mean I'm done with all this season's lore. There's still some of the lore hidden away in the season pass thingy. There's still 2 out of 5 avatars and 10 out of 10 backgrounds that weren't relevant to any other lore of this season, so I also get started on them now. There's nothing interesting I could find out about the avatars. Maybe tempting to connect the 10 backgrounds to the 10 dance verses, because this season is all about the dance verses, but there's 2 main problems. Where do you put Sickle Serpents, and what gets put on Winter Haven? Sickle Serpents could only really go in either Wastera or maybe Melosia Realms, but both of those are already confirmed to be where the Burning Kraken and Wood of Wonders are respectively. Also, none of them has known. Like, what the hell? As for the lore of the backgrounds themselves, the only one I find interesting is Wood of Wonders, which is mentioned in the Euphoria TikTok as where Crystal lives. The flavor text says, ruled by the high nymph, the woods whisper of enchantment. Now, Just Dance Wiki, where I get most of my information from, believes that the High Nymph is the coach of the map that the background is from. Wow. I, however, have a different hypothesis. Considering the background just got introduced in the same season we got Euphoria, I wouldn't be surprised if the lore actually tied in. And for my actual point, Lorvid sets up Crystal to be just the coolest person. It says that all Melosians come to her to help, even though they all have magic. And said this because she's just that good. The only evidence I have against this is other than that one tidbit, Crystal is just treated as one of the Woods Druids by the Lorvid. Outros, I meant to do outros. Begging, begging, put your love in my begging, begging, put your love in my PanFan and Deerstan will eventually run out of bananas, and I have no